What's up, Poke People? This is Professor Evergreen of the Green Bay Slackers, bringing you another team builder video in our GBA draft style tournament. Now, we are sitting at 3-0 for our victories, have not lost once, and I'm going to predict we are going to carry that on to this next battle with our, let's see, who we're battling this week. We are battling the Bloodthirsty Popplios. The Bloodthirsty Popplios, coached by our friend Andres here on the right-hand side. You can see his team. Very scary team that he's drafted. Honestly, one of the better fighters, too, in this drafting tournament as far as experience and fighting style. Very worried about facing him, but I think we could still pull in a win. He's got the Heatran, Ferrothorn, Mega Diancie, Ditto, Galvantula, Weezing, Trachean, Rhydon, Jirachi, Lantern, and Smeargle. First things I noticed right off the bat, I do not want to bother to bring hazards. Toxic Spikes, I could bring on my Nidoqueen or Stealth Rocks on a couple of different mons, but he's got the Weezing for Levitate, he's got the Steel types in Heatran, Jirachi, Ferrothorn. Galvantula is the only one who will take a lot of extra damage to rocks. Everything else is neutral damage or even resisted with the Steel types or the ground types that he has. It just doesn't seem worth it to bring them. Especially with Mega Diancie's ability, Magic Bounce, which could bounce back any of these hazards, again, that won't necessarily do that much to his team, if anything at all, and bounce them right back at me, so now they're on my side. So I'm not going to be bringing any hazards. That's the number one thing. The number two thing I noticed is Mega Diancie, big threat. Big threat. It's got a lot of special attack, special defense, even speed. It is a fast mon. It is a bulky mon. However, it does have one saving grace, well, two saving graces actually. Base 50 HP, pretty low overall, even though its defenses could be pretty, pretty good. But it's 4 times weakness to steel with that low HP set is what is going to be our saving grace. So let's go ahead and start with our first Pokemon to face this team, which is going to be our Metagross. Now, this is a Choice Scarf Metagross with 12 IVs in HP, 252 in attack, 4 in defense, 4 in special defense, and 236 in speed with an Adamant Nature. Now, with an Adamant Nature and 252 in attack, this Metagross is going to be hitting very hard on his entire team. And with that 236 in speed, with the Choice Scarf, what this allows us to do is outspeed any Pokemon on his entire team that is not Choice Scarfed. Which on Mega Diancie's case, since it has to be holding the Mega Stone, is 100% of the time. So, Mega Diancie, faster than it, Meteor Mash, it's going down with one hit. I don't care if it's defensive set. That Diancie with a Metagross, Adamant, all 252 in attack, Meteor Mash that outspeeds it is going to be taken down in one hit. Easy peasy. Main things I gotta watch out for are Choice Scarf users, because other than that, any other Pokemon on his team that's not Choice Scarf user also will lose to, it won't even be a speed type. This Metagross will outspeed 100% of the time anything on his team that does not have a Choice Scarf. So we got that Meteor Mash for Diancie, but it'll also work well on his rock types like Trachean or Rhydon. We have Zen Headbutt, of course, for the Weezing, who is going to be a Levitate user, not going to be able to use Earthquake on him. But Zen Headbutt will be super effective, so that way that Weezing does not come in and wall our Metagross. We got the Earthquake for a lot of his other teammates. The Heatran, of course, ×4 effective. His Ditto, if it switches in on the Metagross, Earthquake, super effective. Trachean, Rhydon, also Jirachi, Lantern, all these things. Earthquake is going to be very helpful. A lot of his Pokemon are weak to ground. Now, Ferrothorn just takes neutral damage from it, but Hammer Arm will help take care of the Ferrothorn, so the Ferrothorn doesn't wall us as well. Super effective against that, and still does pretty decent damage against Heatran and Trachean and Rhydon, and even super effective against Smeargle as well. So that way, I pretty much have everything. I have moves for every single Pokemon on his team on this Metagross. The only other thing that doesn't hit super effectively really is going to be the Galvantula, but Galvantula is super not, and that's not going to take a hit. I can just use Meteor Mash on that or any other move. It's not gonna survive very well against this Metagross. That being said, I do not want to use this Metagross early on. I want to save it towards near the end. This is pretty much one of my maybe 2 win conditions. This Metagross is going to be very important. It can take on pretty much any of his Pokemon, but I really want to watch out for Choice Scarfers that are going to deal damage to it, because as long as I can watch out for the Choice Scarfers on his team, then I'll be able to always outspeed and kill the Pokemon that I come in on. And hopefully I can take care of those Choice Scarfers with some of my beefier Pokemon. or my next Pokemon, which we're going to go into right now, which is going to be Smurfs, our shiny Doug Trio here. Look at those little blue noses. This is Smurfs, our Doug Trio. He's also holding a Choice Scarf with 88 EVs in HP, 252 in attack, 4 in special defense, 164 in speed, and then a Jolly Nature. Now, what this does differently than our Metagross is with this much speed and the Jolly Nature and the Choice Scarf, I outspeed any Pokemon on his team 100% of the time. Whether they are Choice Scarf or not, it doesn't matter. This Doug Trio, except for priority moves, is going to outspeed anything on his team, period. So of course I got the Arena Trap on it. I want to trap Pokemon in when they're not expecting him and just hit hard, hit first, hit fast, take things out. Earthquake, again, we covered it a little bit earlier. A lot of his Pokemon are weak to ground type moves, and again, they're going to be trapped in there. Now obviously Weezing, Levitate user, but also he's not going to be trapped in there because of Arena Trap. They Flying type Pokemon and Levitate users are not affected by Arena Trap. So I'm not going to be bringing Doug Trio in on Weezing much anyways, because it's the only one of his Pokemon out of all of them that when I switch him in that can switch out of me, sorry. All the other Pokemon are not going to be able to switch out of me. So this Doug Trio is not going to be facing Weezing, so I didn't bother trying to find a move necessarily to hit the Weezing with on my Doug Trio. Honestly, the only move that could even hit it super effectively I could put on Doug Trio is Hidden Power Psychic, and that wasn't doing too much either. Doug Trio's special attack is not very high. It just didn't seem worth it. So we're just going to go ahead and not put this Doug Trio up against Weezing. I'm going to take care of Weezing in other ways. Besides Earthquake, we have Reversal for, again, the Pokemon that are weak to fighting, but are not weak to ground-type moves. Rock Slide will help hit the Galvantula. I did want something for the Galvantula on Doug Trio, because, again, I could trap it in here, and the thing about Galvantula that I'll cover more in a little bit is that it's one of 2 Pokemon on his team that can use the Sticky Web, and a Smeargle, of course, which can, use any move. So I really want to watch out for the Sticky Web users because, like I was saying, with this Doug Trio and Evelos, my Metagross, both those Choice Scarf users, very important how I speed tiered them, so that way they can outspeed all the non-Choice Scarfers and or every Pokemon on his team. So if that Sticky Web goes up, it pretty much ruins my strategy. So I'm going to make sure, my darndest, that we're going to keep those off the field, and if they get on there, we're going to get rid of them. And I want to be able to take care of this Galvantula. So the Doug Trio has the Rock Slide for the Galvantula. Now, usually you see Doug Trio with Sucker Punch. And honestly, the only thing I could see on his team that I even would want to use Sucker Punch instead of just using Earthquake on would be the Jirachi, because it's super effective. However, Earthquake is also super effective with the stronger base attack stat and its stab, because Doug Trio is a ground type. So I didn't really see any reason to bother putting Sucker Punch in it. So I was looking through the other moves, and honestly, I didn't need to put anything in it, and I still don't want to do Stealth Rocks, especially on a Choicer. So I went ahead and did Facade just in case Doug Trio gets burned later in the match, either a Will-O-Wisp from Weezing or Heatran or something. Just something happens, he gets a burn. I wanted him to be able to use a move unexpectedly that would do more damage than the coach would be expecting. So Facade in him, of course, doubles the damage it's doing when it is affected by a status effect. So even though my attack stat will be lowered because of the burn, Facade will still be doing a lot more damage, and it'll be an unexpected hit that he won't see coming that maybe might help me take something out otherwise. So I just went ahead and throw it in there. I probably won't even use that move the entire game, but it's on there because I didn't have anything else to put on there, and it could come in a tight pinch just to have. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next Pokemon T, which is Stay Puffed, which is our Rotom-Mow holding the Assault Vest. We got 252 in HP, 4 in defense, 252 in special defense with a Sassy Nature. Now, the main reason I wanted to do a Sassy Nature was to lower our speed, and you can see there I even put 0 IVs in the speed. And the reason for this is because I wanted this to be a slow Volt Switch user. I want to go second with this Pokemon. I want to get hit, take a hit by one of his Pokemon, and be able to Volt Switch out into a different appropriate Pokemon. The number one thing I want to be able to use, actually, there's 2 things, but the number one thing I want to do is lead with this Pokemon, expecting him to lead with Galvantula. It's a very good lead for him because it has Volt Switch and it has a Sticky Web, so he can set up that, or he can get out of there if he wants to in a pitch. He might start with something else, but if he brings the Galvantula, I want to be able to right away hit him while he's setting up a Sticky Web when he thinks he's safe. He'll think that I have Volt Switch and Leaf Storm, which of course I do. Volt Switch, of course, for initiative, Leaf Storm because it hits the Trachean, the Rhydon, the Lantern, and some of those other mons just, at a neutral nature, and it's a very strong attack. But I put the Hidden Power Fire on this thing, so that way it can take a big hit to Galvantula without him expecting it. Of course, Hidden Power Fire also will be pretty good against the Ferrothorn and the Jirachi. Obviously not the Heatran, but yeah, so I went ahead and threw that on there. It's going to be a 2-hit KO on the Galvantula. Most Galvantulas run a Focus Sash anyways, so there wasn't too much reason for me to try to put so much in special attack so I can kill him in one hit. That would take up that would take away all my bulkiness. I wouldn't be able to run a slow, bulky set if I was worried about killing Galvantula just one Pokemon, one hit. But that's okay. Hidden Power Fire is going to do a lot of unexpected damage to him, I could see. And hopefully he doesn't even bring Galvantula. That'd be great. The number 2 reason I have Rotom like this is actually for Heatran. Now that sounds really odd, but here's the thing. As long as he's not full out, super, modest, special attack, gonna hit with a fire attack's gonna obviously do a lot of damage to me, but I should be able to survive a hit if he's more on the bulky side, or even just not full on modest. Maybe he's worried more about speed if he's an offensive set. So I take the hit, him expecting him not wanting to switch out, because obviously he has the advantage, right? He's gonna go ahead and just use a fire attack. I use Volt Switch, which also helps me take care of any potential air balloon he has on him, because if he has an air balloon on his Heatran, I'm not going to be able to hit him with that 4x super effective ground move. But if I get a slow Volt Switch off and then pop the air balloon, switch out into my Dugtrio, thus trapping his Heatran, and then go for Earthquake, he cannot switch out. He'll be stuck in. He won't be able to outspeed me no matter what, and Earthquake will 100% of the time take him out. Because let's say he had a Focus Sash to survive it. Again, Volt Switch would have taken care of that. Because the air balloon did not get hit. Volt Switch will take care of that. So I have Rotom, I Volt Switch Heatran out, and I go ahead and kill him off with the Dugtrio. Now, I went ahead and finished off Rotom with the Foul Play, because Foul Play will do a lot of damage to the Jirachi, and the Jirachi is also something I need to worry about overall. Jirachi is a very scary Pokemon, actually. It can be Choice Scarf, it can be Substitute Set, it can be very defensive, it can be very offensive. It's very mixed, but it has 100 base stats all around. And even if it's not invested in attack, it has a good amount of attack, so Foul Play should do a lot of damage to the Jirachi. So that is my Stay Puft set. Next we're going to go to Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot, if any of you guys know that game or reference, which is my Hitmontop, of course, that spinning crazy guy. And we're going to go ahead and use the ability Intimidate, non-technician on him this week with the leftovers. Just throwing 4 in attack, 252 in defense, 252 in special defense with a careful nature. So this Pokemon is built to be very defensive on both ends. It has a little bit more in special defense, but it also has an Intimidate ability. So pretty much a good equal on both sides. Should be able to take hits from both sides. It has a Rapid Spin, of course, because again, like we were talking about earlier, if the sticky webs do get set up, I need a way to get rid of the sticky webs. They're very much going to be a problem for my strategy for winning this game. So I needed to have Hitmontop in here. Hopefully we can take care of that just fine between the Smeargle and the Galvantula, or one of them, whichever one decides to show up. Rapid Spin. Then we got Mach Punch and Bullet Punch. Like we've talked about previously with some of the other mons, he has a lot of Pokemon that are weak to both Steel and Fighting type moves. So we got priority on here, so we don't even have to worry about our speed. We don't have the Technician boost. Again, we have the Intimidate to be more of a defensive set, but that's okay. This Mach Punch and Bullet Punch is more for just getting a little bit of extra damage on things. It's not for taking things out. Honestly, the main reason Hitmontop is on this team is because of Rapid Spin, and I need to keep those sticky webs up. So that's the number one reason. Those other moves are going to become secondary just to get a little bit more off damage as the match goes on, especially if Galvantula and or Smeargle are dead already. This Hitmontop does not need to be around anymore. I honestly don't care about any other hazards if he wants to set them up besides sticky webs. So if I get those 2 killed, or whichever one comes, or if they don't even come, that's great. This Hitmontop is just free to throw extra attacks. And then close combat just because it hits really hard, of course. And a lot of his Pokemon, again, are weak to fighting. So Fighting Stab, close combat, Hitmontop, gonna do lots of damage. Not gonna be priority, but as long as I know I can take a hit with this bulky set, it shouldn't matter too much. So that's gonna be my Hitmontop Bandicoot, as it were. Then we got Heartless, our shiny Umbreon over here with the leftovers, 248 in HP. That way we can keep our odd number of HP, which, by the way, in case anyone doesn't know out there why you usually want an odd number of HP on your Pokemon, it is because of things like Stealth Rocks and Leeching and stuff like that, because those always take a percentage of your max HP, and if you have an odd number, then it always rounds down. And what that does is it allows more switch-ins to Stealth Rocks and then more times leech, so you can do those kinds of things to do percentages of your HP. So it's very, very good to have an odd number of HP, because overall you basically take less damage and get to switch in and out of Stealth Rocks more times. So then we have 252 in defense, and then the rest thrown into special defense. So this again is going to be one of our defensive set. This is going to be so we got Bandicoot, who's both defense and special defense. We got Aronimo, which is very specially defense. This Umbreon is going to be our very defensive set to take physical hits in pretty well. Now, you can probably see on it that it has no attack moves. Usually Umbreons at least have, for taunt users, a foul play. And there's a couple reasons why I didn't bother doing this. One, foul play itself, the only Pokemon I can even see myself using it against would be the Jirachi. I don't see myself using it against anything else. Even if I could, there's a good chance I would rather switch out or heal or do something else rather than use the foul play, except against the Jirachi for super effective damage. And it, obviously the Jirachi itself, like I said before, has a pretty good attack stat. So I might have done it for that. However, I'd rather do these other things, and the only taunt users on his teams are, or possible taunt users, are Weezing, Heatran, Smeargle, and Terrakion. And the thing about these Pokemon is that I would never want to use foul play against them anyways. Because the thing about it is Weezing doesn't have very good attack stat. Heatran usually doesn't bother having a very good attack stat. It usually attacks specially. It has a decent attack stat, but again, foul play is not going to do that much to it. Smeargle, foul play is not going to do that much against it. Terrakion's the only one out of all of them that foul play would actually do some damage, because Terrakion has a great attack stat. But again, I would never want to stay in against a Terrakion because it's probably just going to go for close combat and kill me. I'm going to want to switch out. So even though these Pokemon can learn taunt against my Umbreon, there's no scenario where they taunt me and I want to stay in and be using my foul play. So I just didn't even worry about getting taunted by these. If they taunt me, that's fine, I'll switch out. But even if I had foul play to help prevent that, I wouldn't stay in and foul play them anyways. I would still switch out. So it doesn't change how I would use Heartless at all. So I went ahead and not worried about having an attack move at all. But I have the Heal Bell. This will help get rid of any burns on, well, any status effect really, but the burns especially on my main attackers who are physical sets that are going to be able to need to do lots of damage. Of course, the Baton Pass, again, with the relaxed nature I have down here, negative speed, 0 IVs in speed. I want to be as slow as possible so that way I get hit with the Umbreon and I can switch with a Baton Pass and then switch to the appropriate Pokemon. So that way if he switches out or if he just wants to go, whatever he does, I will go second and get the switch into the proper Pokemon that I want to face him. Then, of course, Wish for healing purposes, for healing Umbreon, healing any other Pokemon, and then Protect with the leftovers, of course, to help get some of that back, help get the Wish heal off if I need to get it on Umbreon themselves. So, very much a cleric, not going to be hurting anything else, but very helpful to support the team, make sure there's no burns, make sure things stay healthy, make sure I can get my strategy off. And the last Pokemon to round out our team is going to be Brienne, our Nidoqueen, holding the life orb for the sheer force ability, 252 in HP, 252 in special attack, throw the extra 4 in speed with a modest nature. This thing is going to be hitting hard. Modest, 252 special attack, sheer force, life orb. So the only thing that would hit harder than this if I put choice specs on it, but I wanted to be able to switch up my moves, because the main reason what this Nidoqueen is for is to be a wall breaker. If he has Pokemon on his team that are very defensive and that I'm having trouble with, this Nidoqueen should be able to do a lot of damage to it. And the thing about it is, because of what speed tier it's in, the Pokemon that he has, if they're bulky sets, and again, this Nidoqueen is meant for bulky sets, not for anything that's fast and it has a lot in attack or special attack, my Metagross and Dugtrio should be able to take care of, because they'll still outspeed him and do a lot of damage to them, and they won't be as defensive. But Pokemon that he has more defensively that are not invested in speed, then this thing actually will be able to outspeed it. He's able to outspeed the Ferrothorn, the Heatran, the Weezing, the Rhydon, the Smeargle, and the Lantern. All of these Pokemon I just mentioned, if they have no speed investments, the Nidoqueen should be able to outspeed them. So, again, I'll be watching out for that as I go along and be able to get Nidoqueen in. And because I put 252 in HP as well and I didn't have to worry about speed, Nidoqueen herself is going to be able to take some hits. And Earth Power, again, lots of his Pokemon are weak to ground moves. Earth Power is stab for Nidoqueen. It's going to be doing a lot of damage. Even if he switches out into Ditto, Earth Power is going to be doing a lot of damage because he'll turn into my Nidoqueen. We have the Focus Blast, again, fighting move for the rest of his Pokemon that are not weak to ground but are weak to fighting. And then we threw on the Flamethrower there as well to help take care of the Ferrothorn so we don't get walled by him. Again, a Pokemon that could be very specially defensive. It's good against the Galvantula too, but I don't see myself needing Nidoqueen for the Galvantula because Galvantula is going to be faster and Galvantula is pretty weak regardless. Something else will probably be able to take it out. But that Ferrothorn, if it's a big defensive set, which is what this Nidoqueen is for, is to take care of the bulky mons, then Flamethrower is definitely a necessity for that Ferrothorn. Now, I didn't really have a fourth move to throw on here. I wish I had some sort of Psychic move I could use for Weezing. The best thing was, of course, Hidden Power Psychic, but with the damage that was doing, it, again, didn't really seem worth it. Metagross should be able to take care of Weezing with his Zen Headbutt, or other Pokemon just whittling down as we go. So, Flamethrower can even hit Weezing for some damage pretty, like his special defense, it isn't going to be amazing, even though he's a good defensive mon overall. So we went ahead and just put Roar on this thing. I was thinking that the only other thing I was thinking about was the Super Fang, possibly for walls that, like, I just want to hit to take away half their HP right away, but I was a little worried about maybe a defensive mon setting up, or something getting behind a substitute. So I wanted to have Roar just so I had something to take care of that if it came up. So I went ahead and threw Roar on the Nidoqueen. Again, with the Life Orb and Sheer Force abilities, going to be doing a lot of damage to all these attacks, but I'm going to be able to switch up the moves. So that is going to be our strategy for this week. I hope you guys are excited, and we should have the battle video against the bloodthirsty Popplios coming up soon. And this is Professor Evergreen of the Green Bay Slackers, slacking off. I'll see you guys next time.